I've got a question about how UFC contracts work. I don't understand it. You never see football players, basketball players, baseball players, hockey players, or any other professional athlete sign a contract and then stop playing their sport and demand more money. Not once did Wayne Gretzky, Mario Lemieux, Bobby Orr, Sidney Crosby, Alexander Ovechkin stop playing mid-season, mid-contract, and just be like, I'm out, I want more money. That's not how it works. I don't get how John Jones, Jorge Masvidal, and all these guys. Now, I'm not saying they don't deserve the money. They absolutely deserve every penny they can get. If they can get $20 million a fight, more power to them. Let them get $20 million a fight. They're going in there. They're risking their lives every single time they step into that cage. That's not what this is about. This is by no means a video talking about the fighters don't deserve it, because they do. The thing I don't understand is Jorge Masvidal just signed a new contract with the UFC like a year ago. John Jones just signed a new contract with the UFC as well. Now, both of those statements came straight from Dana White from yesterday's UFC 250 post-fight press conference. So you can go check that out. It's all over YouTube. Okay, so John Jones, I'm just going to use John Jones as the example. John Jones signed a new 7 or 8 fight deal, whatever it was, doesn't matter. One fight into that contract that he signed for however much money he signed for, the UFC does not make their numbers public, so who knows? And again, I'm just going to make this number up out of the blue just so I can do the sort of explain things. Let's just say, out of the blue, John Jones signed a 7-fight deal for $1 million a fight. Probably not that much, but I'm just using that number. Signs a 7-fight deal for $1 million a fight. After one fight, he says, I'm done. I want more money. How is that a thing? The UFC has always been, or seemingly always been, good with paying their fighters more than what their contract is worth. He probably signed for 7 fights at lightweight. I'm just guessing. So the Francis Ngannou fight came up at heavyweight. He probably went to the UFC and been like, I want more money for that Francis fight. Sure, totally understand. Bigger fight, different weight class, more of a risk. Absolutely deserve more money. But let's just say he signed that contract for $1 million a fight. Dana White has said he has asked, now John Jones has denied this, but Dana White has said he has asked for Deontay Wilder type money. Deontay Wilder made like 35, 40 something million dollars for his last fight. That's a giant increase. I'm going to guess Dana White's exaggerating just a little bit on that he wants Deontay Wilder type money. But even let's just say he asked for $10 million, $5 million. Let's just say $5 million that John Jones would have asked for. Does he deserve a bump from $1 million to $5 million for that one fight? Does he deserve 4 times the amount of the contract that he signed and agreed to at the time? It's an honest question. I don't think so. Do I think he deserves $5 million a fight? Yep. Do I think he should stick to the terms of the contract he agreed to when he signed them? Yup. You signed a contract for 7 fights at my made up $1 million a fight. You fight those 7 fights, then you renegotiate. At the end of those 7 fights, if you do not want to fight for less than $5-10 million a fight, it's easy. You don't sign that contract. I don't see what's difficult about that. Jorge Masvidal, same thing. just signed a brand new contract with the UFC. He's like 1 fight in or something, 1 or 2 fights in. He signed that deal based on a certain getting paid a certain amount per fight, which he was fined for. Sure, Jorge Masvidal blew up, became a much more popular fighter than he was probably before he signed that contract. But it's possible he signed that contract after he KO'd Ben Askren. But I don't know. So does Jorge Masvidal deserve a raise? Maybe. But again, in my opinion, you signed a contract. You need to... It's not the UFC's job to pay you more money, but they always give their fighters bonuses. If Jorge Masvidal went to Dana and he was like, I want such and such amount of money, a reasonable amount, whatever that may be, I bet the UFC would say yes. But if you signed a 7-fight deal and said, I want $1 million a fight, and they give you $1 million a fight, but you fight 1 fight, and then you're like, I want $5 million a fight. That's not how contracts work. Scottie Pippen is a perfect example. Scottie Pippen was the most underpaid athlete ever. Like, probably not ever. But for the level of talent that Scottie Pippen had, he was like, if you watch The Last Dance on Netflix, I don't remember what the exact number was, but he was astronomically underpaid. He was like in the 100th top players in the league paid, like beyond that or something ridiculous. It'd be like Mario Lemieux. I'm a hockey guy, so hockey terms are easier for me. I'm not a basketball guy. It'd be like Mario Lemieux making $10 million a season and then Yager making 1. That's not fair. Yager's amazing too. But Scottie Pippen signed that deal for however long it was, and it was a very long contract. But he signed that deal. He almost played it all the way through. I do think he sat out part of a season, but he came back and finished his contract out for the same amount of money. And then got traded, and then got paid. Or maybe he got paid before he got traded. He signed another contract. I don't remember. Did he leave the Bulls on his last season on his contract? Either way, he ended up getting paid. But he played all of that contract out for an astronomically underpaid amount. Jordan was getting paid. Scottie Pippen was getting nothing, but Scottie played. So, that's my thing. How can UFC fighters get away with demanding more money when they have a contract saying they are paid a certain amount of money per fight? You signed that contract. No one forced you to sign that contract. You decided to sign that contract. If you wanted more money, you should have asked for more money before you signed that contract. Or make yourself famous, like Jorge Masvidal. Fight out your 7 fights. Show the UFC that you can bring in pay-per-view buy rates. Show them that you can pack those arenas when fans are allowed at shows. But show them that you're a draw, that you can make money, that's what you're worth. And then when it comes time to sign your new contract, demand that big raise. Be like, this is what I'm worth. I did these numbers. I brought in this gate. I sold this many pay-per-views. And then you get paid. Don't sign the contract if you don't like the terms. It's pretty easy. It just confuses me. That said, do I think the fighters are worth way more than they're getting paid? Absolutely. But I don't think they should sign contracts and then go back on those contracts because now they're not happy with it. You signed a deal. Live up to your word. Get paid. Unless for some reason the UFC is not paying you what you asked for, then you can complain about it. But if they're paying you the mutually agreed upon amount of money per fight, then you have to live that out. Tom Brady, like, I don't know a lot about other athletes in sports, but I know baseball players can't stop mid-game, mid-season, can't stop after their 60th game of the season be like, I'm out. I want more money in my contract. Basketball, LeBron James can't stop mid-season with the Lakers and be like, I'm not playing the rest of this season until you pay me more money. They're under contracts. They agreed to. It's weird. And Dana White has always said the fighters don't have to fight. But that doesn't mean they can go fight somewhere else and make that money. They signed a contract. They can't go fight in Bellator or ONE FC or whoever else there is because they have a 7-fight deal with the UFC that they agreed to for amount of money per fight. But now they don't want to fight for that amount of money. I'm just repeating myself now, so I'm going to end the video. But that's my question. How do they work? Is that something that's written into their contract that they can renegotiate after every fight? Because if it is, awesome. But if it's not, you have to fight out the contract you have signed already. That's what I think. Then re-sign for big money. And like I said, they deserve big money already, but it should be in the contract that they already signed.